Hello out there, science fans. My name is Ken Dushington. Welcome to another episode of Spotlight on Science, where we break down the big issues into manageable bites of technological treats. Tonight, we address the contentious issue of designer babies and how, or if, they will fit into the future of our exponentially growing population. Will it come to pass that there is no longer any inherited diseases as we screen for the genetic defects that cause these anomalies? Are we entering an era where we can pick and choose the traits we desire in our children, from the colour of their hair to their IQ? Can we tweak our DNA for a little more TNA? And what, more importantly, do we have the right to make changes to our children on a genetic level before they are born? Our guest tonight will address the scientific, ethical, and legal issues surrounding what is one of the most contentious topics of the 21st century. Now, let's cross live to the studio with my guest, Dr. Cooper Stoutlington from the Perfect Babies Advocacy Centre and Dr. Norbert Hefferweisen, Managing Director of Keep It Natural. Welcome to the studio, science fans. Dr. Stoutlington, thanks for coming in.
No worries, Ken.
Causing a stir in the news recently is this advertisement from Australian business magnate Jim, purportedly advertising a new business in designer babies. Let's take a look and see how our guests react.
Do you want your child to be the next Elon Musk, Serena Williams, Barack Obama or Beyonce? Well, we can make that dream a reality. Here at Jim's Baby Improvements, we are able to identify attractive qualities and skills which will create a child who is guaranteed to be more successful, beautiful, have a rich personality, high IQ and make you proud and happy parents for life. Our scientists have worked tirelessly to perfect the process, making it completely safe. Not only will Jim's Baby Improvements help you to create the perfect family, but we will be benefiting society with a new generation of inspiring leaders, scientists, athletes and performers. If you want to hear more about us, please call on 1-800-BABIES.
Dr. Hefferweisen, thanks for joining us via webcam.
Thanks, Ken. Please call me Hef. And to be quite frank, I think it's just modern technology gone mad. Because with the possible introduction of this new technology, there just seems to be some glaring weaknesses that need to be addressed, like the possibility of the increase of a society gap. The technology that will be used to manipulate embryos to produce children with guaranteed higher attributes than the average regular child will then widen the gap between the wealthy and the poor.
Well, yeah, but what takes precedence? Like a social dilemma or the fact that technology could essentially eradicate genetic disease? I don't even think that's a dilemma. What kind of person would allow children to be born into a painful existence if it could be avoided? Just because of their misinformed notion of what's right and wrong.
Okay. Because now we're going to cross to Dr. Demi Perioni from Shandon & Shandon Lawyers, who will address some of the legal issues here, so we can have banter about that.
Hi Ken, thanks for having me. So there aren't laws specifically around the creation of designer babies since it's a relatively new idea and there's still a debate involving the ethics around it. However, there are laws around the manipulation of human embryos. The Research Involving Human Embryos Act of 2002 states that the use of embryos for research is prohibited unless a license has been obtained. The Prohibition of Human Cloning for Reproduction Act of 2002 also prohibits certain practices to create an embryo unless a license has been obtained. It also states that the alteration of an embryo in a way that is heritable is prohibited. Therefore, the creation of a designer baby would be prohibited since many of its traits would be heritable. At this point in time, Australian law also prohibits the use of CRISPR to genetically modify human embryos since changes to embryos by CRISPR are heritable. CRISPR is also one way in which designer babies could be created. Therefore, this law would need to be changed before designer babies could become reality. Some believe that the manipulation of embryos for research should be allowed by law, but changes to the germline which lead to heritable changes should not be allowed. The only example of designer babies was performed by Professor He in China in 2018 when twins Lulu and Nana had their genomes modified by CRISPR technology to make them resistant to HIV. If this genome editing was performed in Australia, Professor He would be facing 15 years in prison. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks so much for that, Demi. Dr. Hefferweisen, thoughts?
Natural selection has propelled us forward since we were primates. If we begin altering genetic code and reducing the number of genes that can naturally evolve, we would stagnate as a society.
I'd say you're overthinking this. Would a minor reduction in diversity mainly due to the removal of genes which cause problems for people throughout their life be such an issue? I'd be more inclined to look at it as streamlining the human race into a much healthier period. Evolving something which due to the technology we currently wield is being slowed because for us, At least natural selection seems to be taking a backseat.
Wow, there's some good points there, but it looks like things are getting a little heated. Let's cross to our expert geneticist, Dr. Grant Northam, who will give us a rundown on the intricacies of the subject.
Hi Ken, and thank you for having me on the show. Genetic engineering and modification of human embryos surrounds the topics of the two following areas: genetic screening and genetic editing. Genetic screening is the evaluation and selection of specific genes within a prenatal embryo. This process allows for the determination of a healthy baby by specifically selecting desired genes and rejecting faulted genes in order to produce an offspring of desired traits. Genetic editing is the modification of genes within a DNA sequence of a living cell of an organism. This process allows for the location of a specific genome within the DNA sequence that is then cut and repaired using genetic enzymes and complexes. As a result of such genome editing techniques, the alteration of a DNA sequence can result in the deletion of an undesired gene, the alteration of a targeted gene, or the addition of a desired gene to the DNA sequence. These practices are used in techniques such as prenatal and predictive testing, along with the CRISPR-Cas9 system. These applications are achieved through the alteration of somatic cells or germline cells. Somatic cells are non-reproductive cells, therefore bone, skin, hair, and etc., whilst germline cells are reproductive cells, i.e. sperm and eggs. Editing somatic cells affects solely the traits of the treated organism, whilst editing of germline cells results in the alteration of traits within future produced progeny. Thus, in summary, the techniques of genetic screening and genetic editing have the potential to fundamentally create and alter the appearance and makeup of babies. Thanks very much, Ken.
Thank you, Grant. Dr. Stoutlington.
It's not like genetic engineering is something that's just popped up. I mean, we already use it for plant resilience and more appealing looking food. It's even been used for healthier rice, cows that fart less, and glow-in-the-dark cats. I think the pigeon community will thank us for that.
Hang on. So you're placing making food looking more scrumptious and in the same boat as genetically altering an unborn child. What about the implications it could present to the mother? What about her health? What if the altering of a single gene reacts negatively with the host and places her life at risk? Would you then look at the father of the family in the eyes and tell them what happened and say, but it made cows fart less? It should have worked.
Well, we sure have opened up a can of worms here, viewers. Thanks for joining us again, and now a word from our sponsor.
They're worth it. Wouldn't you want to be better?